So back in January of this year, I created a video talking about my love for Mega Man X. Its controls, bosses, graphics, for the time, everything was perfect. Playing Mega Man X is like dining at a 5-star restaurant, but they forgot your A1 sauce and you get attacked by a giant spider, but the food is still good. I have very little negative things to say about it, and you may recall me at the end talking about how it's pretty much all I did for 3 months when I was recovering from a bad break. Well, technically that isn't all I did. I also had a 100-hour Terraria playthrough, but I also tried sequels. And what did I think of Mega Man X2? Well, you read the title, so of course you know what I thought. Let's just play the game and see how my thoughts unwind. So we start the game a lot more action-packed than the last one. We're given the rundown in a text box that moves way too fast. That's been 6 months since the events of Mega Man X1, and X, along with the new generation of hunters, are going after what remains of Sigma's forces. And also, what the hell do you mean the war is now just beginning? That didn't quantify? Now, I prefer the iconic bridge from X1 more. I think it just makes a better tutorial, but I'll give them this. This is also a pretty good intro stage. X rides in and launches his motorcycle at a robot, and it's definitely a lot more action-packed. Also, some random guy on a different motorcycle gets destroyed in like the first 20 seconds, and I feel like I should bring it up. I don't know why, but I feel like he's important. It's not even setting up anything, like, he never comes back, but I feel like he deserves this. What the fuck are you talking about? So they didn't really change how X control very much. I mean, this game was essentially just doing the classic Mega Man thing of reusing the engine and sprites to create a new game on the exact same console, so of course he controls the same. He can wall jump, charge the 3 different shots of the Mega Buster, the small iconic lemons, the green one that can pierce, and this big one that does the most damage. He can also jump if that needs to be brought up for some reason. But his most notable change between games is that he now starts with the dash this time. Not only does that mean that the penguin population can finally start to slowly rebuild, but it also means that they can build level designs around him having the dash in the first place, which is an excellent decision. I mean, pretty much everyone grabbed the dash boots immediately anyway, so it makes sense. Anyway, we drop down to the heart of the facility, and because they want to put something in the commercials, we do a giant robot fight that lasts all of 2 seconds. This goes without saying, but of course us fighting Vile was better. It was literally an unwinnable battle. It served to show how weak X was, but I guess giant mech fight works too. Anyways, some silhouetted figures talk shit about us, and then it's off to the title screen. Okay, a few things. A, dear God, seizure warning, holy shit. I'm just gonna dim the screen so people with epilepsy don't. Up on the deck and flop like a fish! B, I can't read a damn thing this text is saying because they decided to put the world map instead of a simplistic cube like last game. I know this is literally the nitpickiest nitpick ever, but I just think it looked better in the last game. Partially because I can actually stare at it for more than 3 seconds. But that's not here or there. Well, since I'm still unfamiliar with this game, I'll just go for whatever boss I feel like first. I don't know, this wasp was looking at me funny, so I'll go to him first. Okay, never mind, that's a centipede, I'm very sorry. Okay, so Magma Centipede's stage is a lot of shit, but I kinda like it. Okay, so the first bit has a gimmick where these balls of flashing light in the background, if you cross over them, will trigger a siren and turrets will fall from the ceiling. This is kind of cool, but very poorly communicated to the player that these lights actually do anything. And then the part following that is an instant death crusher segment. Oh boy, I love instant death crusher segments! This level took me half an hour. So this level has not 1, not 2, wait, no, it's just 2. 2 mini-bosses. The first one of them is just them going, hey look, we can make 3D models on our great brick of a console. It makes you fight this really annoying sword that can only be attacked at its hilt, but at the same time it keeps slashing around and it'll deflect your shots. It's very annoying until you realize you can just stand 2 feet in front of it and spam shots until it gives up. The second one's a bit cooler though. See, in this room right before it, there will be these little detector things that'll fly and try to scan X, and depending on how many of them scan him, the boss will become more powerful. That's really cool. Didn't know that the first time around, and he absolutely wiped the floor with me, and I had to restart the entire level. That's still pretty cool. Anyway, very shortly, like a single room very shortly after that, we take on the main man himself. Now, I remember the first time I played this game disliking a lot of the bosses, but maybe I was just on something because I really like this guy. So he'll do this pseudo-boomer Koanger teleport around the room kind of thing, then stop to shoot this little ring at you that you have to dash through. Now that's pretty cool, until I got him to around half health and he literally sucked X of one of his abilities. Yeah, he'll do this little sucky attack and then he'll damper one of your moves. Like he'll take away the ability to charge, then dash, and then make your jump barely go anywhere. You can mash out of this if you're fast enough, but when I finally beat him, he took away like all of my abilities when we were both one hit. It felt so cool. Pretty shitty fucking stage, but I like this boss. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, why the hell is he called Magma Centipede? Like, none of his attacks involved fire. Hey, just gonna cut myself off there. Turns out I've been pronouncing his name wrong, like, this entire time, and I never double checked to see if I was actually saying his name right in the first place. I'm a fucking idiot. It's Magna Centipede, not Magma Centipede. God. Not even the weapon you get from him is fire-related. These little explosive mines you can shoot at enemies, dealing some decent damage, or make them stick to walls or floors for little traps. Anyway, with no idea of who to head to next, Wire Sponge. Hey, you wanna see something fucked up? Pray to God the rest of the secrets aren't like that. I'm about to say a swear word. This really stinks. Okay, so for those who didn't watch my X1 video, which you should, by the way, I put a lot of effort into that. MegaMan X1 had a lot of good and well thought out secret locations. For example, in Flame Mammoth stage, there are these blocks in the top left, which will mean nothing to you the first time, but you're gonna throw it into your mind as, huh, those look different. But then later on in the game, when you get the helmet piece, you can break those same blocks, and then a little spark's gonna trigger in your mind that you can dash jump up to there, breaking the blocks and getting the arm piece. Now, that was a really good secret because you can clearly see something was different with that specific part of the level. But in Wire Sponge and X2, what the hell is telling me there was a secret there besides me already knowing? It reminds me a lot of Super Mario Bros. U, how they just put a lot of star coins behind invisible walls. It just feels cheap, like if I didn't look it up, I would never find it. At least his level theme's alright. Okay, so I'm not going to wait till the end to talk about the music this time because, unlike X1, I'm honestly not a huge fan of all the tracks. It's a lot more hit or miss. Anyway, aside from that, Why Are Sponges stage is quite good. A lot better than Magma Centipedes, that's for sure. It has this neat gimmick of the weather changing based off what part of the level you're in. I don't know what that has to do with the sponge, but alright. And it's kind of weird because the second secret of this level is actually pretty well placed. If you jump into a pixel-perfect wall jump at the height of this platform's elevation, you can get to the top and get a refillable E-tank, or sub-tank. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Sub-tanks are basically E-tanks, but if you collect health pickups at full health, it'll start filling it up. And the other one I picked up behind the bullshit wall is just a heart piece. It increases max health. And these things are scattered absolutely everywhere. 4 refillable E-tanks and about 16 billion health upgrades. I don't know what the hell I was thinking back then when I thought these bosses were downgraded, because so far, we're 2 for 2 with Wire Sponge being really fun to fight. The only thing I don't like is this one attack where he'll shoot these tendrils everywhere. That's pretty annoying to dodge, but besides that, it's pretty fun. Defeating him unlocks Strike Chain. Okay, here's reason number 1 why I didn't like X2 very much when I first played it. So back in Mega Man X, no matter what boss you defeated, it always felt like these weapons were useful somehow. For example, Flame Mammoths just did a bunch of rapid-fire hits straight in front of you, great for racking up damages on many bosses. Spark Mandrills, when hitting a wall, would split and go up and down the sides of the wall, hitting anything on it, along with a bunch of other examples. So with all of that in mind, you can see why I really didn't and still don't like the weapons in this game. Like, you could find some kind of practicality for Magma Centipede's weapon, but how the hell do you want me to use Wire Sponges? It can do a very wimpy attack in front of you, or grapple you to a wall. Wow, how nice. In X1, there was always some kind of practical application for everything, but I just don't get the same feeling in this one. Anyway, so no matter what you do, after defeating 2 bosses, these 3 goons from before will contact you and Dr. Kane! Okay, no, we watched this motherfucker get nuked. There's no possible way he should be alive. Maybe he parried it, IDK. But whatever witchcraft he's using, he's still alive, and he's informing Mega Man X that we have a communication coming in from this group of bandits known as the X-Hunters. They basically tell us that they have the pieces of Zero and we can put them back together if we can defeat them. And Mega Man X says he has to do whatever he can to get his parts back. That's not him being a good friend. That's gay as fuck, X. So those 3 ne'er-do-wells will now appear in 3 stages at random from behind hidden doors scattered throughout the level. For example, back in Wire Sponges, there was a hidden door underneath the elevator. And for example, in my specific save file, they appeared in Flame Stag, Morph Moth, and Overdrive Ostriches. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is actually going to work or not, but I just defeated Wire Sponge, and since he was a sponge, I'm gonna take on Bubble Crab because maybe they'll go off the logic of a sponge sucking up the water, IDK. And not only was that wrong, but he beat me so bad I literally left and came back to do it later. I don't know why out of all of them I chose Wheel Gator next, but alright. Okay, reason number 2 why I didn't like this game very much when I first played it. Wheel Gator. Could you imagine trying to watch a YouTube video but it looked like this? I wouldn't even call this a gimmick, more just an aesthetic, but Wheel Gator's stage vibrates every other second. It's very, very, very annoying. I'm getting a headache even looking at this footage. Who thought this was a good idea? Anyway, his stage, it's alright. It brings back the robot suit from X1, which is nice, but besides that, it's not anything special. But the real reason I hated this stage when I was younger is because Wheel Gator might be one of the most obnoxious bosses I have yet to see in this entire franchise.
name's Carney, and I have a question. Do you like waiting? Well, me too! That's why I'm here to sell you on our new revolutionary product, Wheel Gator.
He has a total of 2 attacks. Going into the mud, why is there mud inside of a tank, and throwing saws at you. Then if you dare touch the ground while he's in the middle of this, he'll come out and bite you. And he'll keep biting you until you mash out. And every time you hit him, he goes back into the mud, and repeats the cycle of throwing saws at you. Thank God Wire Sponge's dumb little grapple thing is actually strong against him, I would have been here forever. But on the contraire... So, I went back and played this game, I'm gonna mention this at the end, but I played this game again after my first playthrough, and for that second playthrough, I fought Wheel Gator first, because there was a thing I wanted to collect in that stage first. And that means I didn't have Wire Sponge's ability to fight Wheel Gator with. And I noticed, when I was using only the Buster, it was actually not only easier, but kind of fun. Now, you could say, okay, well that makes up for, you know, him being not very fun when you have Wire Sponges. Why the hell does his weakness make him stronger? At least his weapon is actually pretty good. The best we have so far, I'd say. It'll go forward along the ground, like, gee, I don't know, some kind of wheel. It's not amazing or anything, but it's good for taking down either groups of enemies on the ground or bigger situational enemies. It can also go through certain breakable walls. More on that later. Also, for some reason after I did this stage, one of the X Hunters who came to challenge X just disappeared, which is kind of strange, but regardless, on to Overdrive Ostrich. For no apparent reason besides one of the people being there. Grandpa wiped the floor with me. So Sergey's, I assume, judging by how he looks, would maybe just sit in the corner and use projectiles because he can't move around in his old age. But little did I know, this motherfucker starts doing backflips. He does this shooting weird blast of energy everywhere and planting mines, and that's literally all of his attacks. And these little mines are so annoying just because the only way he can get rid of them is using a fully charged attack, or one of the other attacks I have, which will run out. So to remove one of these, you have to either sacrifice time or resources. And sacrificing time, you probably just plant like 3 more in the time it takes to get rid of one. So just bite the bullet and shoot a saw blade at it. Anyway, after he beat my ass 3 times, we're back to the world map where all of them have moved again. And the third one is still absent for some reason. What happened to the third X Hunter from MegaMan X2? You gotta be kidding me. So, if one of them happened to be in the stage, but you didn't fight them because, you know, maybe you didn't think you could handle the challenge yet, or maybe you didn't have their weakness, or maybe you just didn't find the hidden door, they disappear. For example, Sergey's is weak to Overdrive Ostrich's weapon, and I haven't fought Overdrive Ostrich yet because Sergey's was on that stage. And if you didn't fight one of them when they were there, tough shit because they're gone forever. Do I even have to say it? Do I even have to say it's a terrible f***ing idea for game design? This is quite possibly the dumbest goddamn decision they could have made. Anyway, since Sergey is weak to our ostrich friend and he's currently vacated to somewhere else, I guess I'll go take the opportunity to fight him next. Reason number 3 why I didn't like X2 very much. Overdrive Ostrich. Okay, so first off, this level, it's actually pretty good. Might even be one of my favorites. This introduces the main gimmick of the level, being this bike. It can fire these high damaging projectiles, boost, and even go over ramps. Its main flaw being it's very uncontrollable. That's not to say it goes forward automatically, it's just hard to turn around once you started getting going. Get it? What the f— Also, his theme? It isn't even close to being as good as anything from X1, but hey, it's still pretty good. Okay, so I want to quickly acknowledge something. Sorry I keep comparing this game to X1 so much, but at this point, what else do I have to compare it to? If you're talking about a sequel to a game, I'm going to compare it to the original. If it falters or succeeds in the areas that the first one did or didn't, then I'm going to bring it up. So when I say stuff like, its boss design is worse, or its music is worse, or the weapons are worse, or it's a shitty f***ing game that made me feel sad, that's mainly comparing it to X1. Oh yeah, by the way, if you bring Wheel Gators to this stage, you can saw through this wall and find the leg part. Since we already have a dash, this time Light will give us the ability to use it in the air. And unfortunately, it's not as good as I thought it'd be. You can't use it out of a dash jump, unfortunately, because I'm pretty sure that would break the entire game wide open, but that would have been fun. Also, on an unrelated note, X is the winner of the I Don't Give a F*** awards, because he literally hops on a rocket, then shoots it down and arrives at the boss ring and you're like, nothing happened. I love him. What I don't love is Overdrive Ostrich. Yeah, I don't like this boss. I was going to say something stronger to describe my feelings towards this boss, but I said the F word too many times in the last 2 minutes, so frick this boss. He's got this dumbass attack where he can shoot these purple energy things down from the ceiling, and it gives you like 0 reaction time before they start falling. And if you don't believe me, here's how much reaction time it gives you. Not only that, but his arena is the only one in the entire game that allows you to off-screen the boss. And in that instance, he'll usually just jump into the background and then leap forward trying to get you. Or she'll do this dumb, idiot, stupid, dumb run straight for you. I swear to God, it's impossible to dodge. Okay, I'm gonna quickly come up with a hypothetical scenario. Real quick. Imagine you're somebody who doesn't know anything about X2, going into this, and in this instance, you go to fight Wheel GATOR first, and then he slams you into the floor because his boss kind of sucks. So then you take a step back and go fight Overdrive Ostrich instead, who's even worse. And then in this hypothetical scenario, you're me, and you have a broken ankle, and you're sad. This stupid, dumb f***ing bird, Wheel GATOR, and the weapon pool are the main reasons I stopped playing this game back then. And honestly, can you blame me? I mean, I guess that's just kind of a flaw that can be applied to any Mega Man game, but at least X1 felt a bit more balanced than this. I think my main complaint for Ostrich ignoring his attacks would probably be his boss arena. You do not realize how important those walls were for wall jumping until they're taken away from you. And hey, at least this boss helps me realize their importance. Anywho, defeating Overdrive Ostrich unlocks Sonic Slicer. It kinda just bounces off walls, it might hit enemies, I don't know. Time to go beat the shit out of that old man, off to Bubble Crab. Okay, so off the bat, Bubble Crab might have one of my favorite themes of any X game. Listen to it! And his stage does not disappoint either. I might even like it a bit more than Launch Octopus's stage. You start above ground at this little cove, then head underwater where you get to fight this big ship, and then go into a hidden wall and find absolutely nothing. It's great, I loved it. Anyway, if you don't defeat this ship in time, it'll lock off the entrance to the X-Hunter stage, which is pretty annoying. But hey, here's Sergey's. Again. And dude, even with his weakness, he's still a challenge. But he goes down pretty unceremoniously, and we get one of Zero's parts back. Huzzah! Anyway, here's Bubble Crab. He's fine. If you don't have his weakness, you can go to hell. If you have his weakness, he's a walk in the park as long as you camp on the walls and just keep spamming Wheel GATOR's attack. We defeat him and get Bubble.
Tear!
I'm just gonna go off on a limb and assume Flame Stag is weak to Bubble because Pokemon logic, so off to him next. Dude, this game is a f***ing roller coaster, I swear, because this and Bubble Crab stage are on par, if not better, than some of the stages in X1. This level's so cool, dude. You start by breaking into this volcano, then running from a bunch of lava, which is very obnoxious the first time, I assure you. Then you break out and jump along these sinking pillars, then to finish it off by scaling this vertical tower thing with these gas lines exposed. And if these flying, flaming squirrels touch one of them, they'll ignite. This is what Mega Man X should be. And it's really funny to me that it's only really felt like 2 stages have made me feel that way so far. Oh yeah, by the way, do you remember Spark Mandrill? I think I just got charged with animal cruelty. Defeating him gets us Flame Wheel. Think Armin Armadillo's weapon, but worse. You have to wait for it to fully go away until you can start firing more, unlike Armin Armadillo's that you could spam. Anyway, time to go burn us a moth. So Morph Moth stage is pretty okay. Run of the mill, basic. I've been shot in the leg and have yet to treat it. Just whatever. The music isn't bad, but not good. The stage isn't bad, but not good. This game isn't bad, but not good. I'm running out of shit to say. Alright, here's something. This stage has too many bosses, and when I say too many bosses, I mean one mini boss they use twice. They gotta start upping the ante if they want to be on par with Launch Octopus. I do really like this stage's enemies, though. I like these little moth guys that'll hop on Mega Man and start making him do random controller inputs. It's actually really cool.
Oh, would you look at the time? It's complaint o'clock.
Okay, so I really like MOTH's first stage, like, a lot. It really reminds me a lot of that one gumball guy from Baroness Bonbon's stage in Cuphead. Its first phase will just scatter metal all over the place, then spinning around the ground, then finally shooting a ring of scrap around itself, and then repeating. And this is actually really fun! And then its second phase starts. And you realize your mortality. Okay, so she'll shed her cocoon and turn into a moth. Makes sense, it did in fact morph moth. She'll rain down this sparkly stuff and shoot beams of light. Okay, so the Empress of Light from Terraria. This is my second time I've brought up Terraria in this video. This is fine and good. What's the issue? Well, for some reason, her contact damage is fucking insane. Look at this, it did nearly half my health bar. I had to use her weakness combined with a fully refillable E-tank just to defeat her once. God save me if I ran out of weapon energy, because good lord, defeating Morph Moth gets a silk shot. Alright, so the only one that's left for us is Crystal Snail, and he sounds like a Steven Universe character, so let's go beat the shit out of him. Okay, so I'm pretty mixed about pretty much everything inside the Crystal Snail stage. On one hand, I really enjoy the music and aesthetics. On the other hand, instant crushing crystal blocks, that's no fun. I swear to God, I must have tried at least 15 times to get that heart piece that's in this stage, you wouldn't believe. It's here where I finally dealt with our final no-good doer of the X-Hunters. Yeah, he did a lot of damage and his attacks were really cool, but unfortunately I did more damage, so 99. And because of a mechanic that was not explained well, I'm now not going to get a cool thing at the end of the game. And watch you quote that exact sentence in my next X video. We get the second Zero part and he skedaddles off. I'll talk about what happens when you get all the 3 parts in a bit, but for right now, back to our boy SNAIL. I then intentionally fell down this pit and found the helmet piece. So the helmet piece in this game will let you detect hidden walls, opposed to X1 where it just let you break blocks. Okay, so imagine this. I set your house on fire and then gave you a bucket of water. That's a pretty shitty solution to a big f***ing problem, and so is MegaMan X2's helmet piece. So I can now see where hidden walls are. That's great. I now have this dumbass ability that doesn't let me attack for up to 5 seconds, so if I accidentally use this while panic switching, I can't attack until it's done. That's not great. I'm surprised how they made a useless armor piece worse, TBH. The power of Capcom! The stage had a mini boss in it. Alright, here's a high point though. Crystal Snail himself. How long is this fucking intro? Yeah, I actually like Crystal Snail. He'll fire these globs that are very bullet helly, and I like it. If you get hit by one, it doesn't do damage, but you'll be frozen and he'll start doing this snail rocket thing and come right at you. But you can mash out of it though. Hey, now that I'm thinking about it, I played this game right off the heels of X1, which didn't have any mashing mechanics in it. I'm not complaining about the mashing mechanics, by the way. I think they're whatever, but I think I never realized that I was supposed to mash out of these attacks like this, now. And if you get him down to his second phase, or use his weakness, he'll ditch the crystal shit and just start slowing down time. This is honestly a really cool boss, and he is also our final boss of the Base 8 Mavericks. Okay, so in my MegaMan X1 video, I said there was only like 2 bosses I disliked, but in X2, it's like half of them. So that's what the 2 stood for. And it's not like in X1 where it's like, okay, well, I disliked Sting Chameleon, but he was still a cool boss. I fucking hated Overdrive Ostrich. Okay, but that's enough about that. Let's go to the cleanup. Okay, so I'm not even gonna lie, the cleanup wasn't even as bad as I was expecting it to be. Some of these secrets are even very well hidden, like this one Morph Moth stage where you have to freeze somebody with Crystal Snail's weapon, then jump off of them to get to this higher ledge and get a heart piece. That's really cool. Or where they hid the arm piece in Wheel Gators, which I can only assume was a homage to where they hid it in X1. It even requires a leg piece like that game. Speaking of the arm piece, it says good as ever. But I'll talk about that in just a second. Yes, I was expecting this game to be really bullshit with where it put its heart pieces in sub-tanks because of the helmet piece's existence, but I was pleasantly surprised to find out most of them were actually just out in the open, or off-screen, but teased by other things in the level, like in X1. But there is one that didn't follow this, and that's the chest piece. Wanna see a magic trick? How the f was I supposed to find that? Anyway, the chest piece works pretty much identically to how it did in the first game, but this time it has this Black Panther-like mechanic where if you take enough damage, you'll be able to send out this big burst attack. Very similar to Crash from Kirby. But that's pretty much all there is to clean up, not nearly as annoying as I was expecting it to be, but that really shouldn't be taken as a compliment. But now for that arm piece I was talking about. In the first game, it let you charge up and do a more powerful 4th charge, but in this game, it's very similar to that, but you get 2 shots. Good for those enemies that have a shield that need to be broken then dealt with. But it also lets you charge up have all of the Maverick weapons. Speaking of, since we've beaten all the Mavericks, let's talk about their weapons thoroughly now. Bubble Crabs will let you shoot out a bunch of bubbles that do a lot of hits, I guess. But charging it up will give you a shield around the player, similar to the Leaf Shield from MegaMan 2. Wheel Gators does the same, but travels across the ground, and charging it up will do that. Flame Stags will send out a wheel of fire, and charging it will let you do a flaming dash thing. Very useful if not required for some secrets. Morph Moths will bounce across the ground until exploding, but charging it up will suck in a bunch of junk from off screen. Something really cool about this one, they actually put in the effort to make sure the junk matched the aesthetic of the stage, which is a nice touch. Crystal Snails will freeze certain enemies, but charging it up will slow down time. This isn't very useful, like at all, especially considering the slowdown also happens for you and not just the enemies. Also, you can't switch off the weapon while it's happening. Like, wow, you can slow down the CPU of the game, aren't you cool? Wire Sponges will let you use a grapple, and charging it will give you an extended grapple. I use this a combined total of not once during my entire playthrough. Magma Centipedes shoots out a projectile going straight forward and can also stick to walls. I use this a combined total of maybe twice during my entire playthrough. Overdrive Ostriches will shoot out bouncy projectiles that go all over the place, and then charging it up gives us his bullshit attack. It feels good that I can use it now. And that's it. That's all of them. Out of all of them, I think I maybe used 3 of them. And I'm sorry to do this for the 20th time in this video, but god, this was so much better in X1. In that game, it didn't even feel like a single weapon was useless, but in this one, how the hell do you want me to use Silk Shot? I'll maybe use Bubble Crabs when I need to deal a bunch of damage, but my regular Buster can already do that, and what the f*** were they thinking when designing Wire Sponges? X looks dumb as hell in this game's armor set. I love it. Anyway, time for the final stretch. Dr. Kane brings his X back to the lab and tells him the X-Hunters have fled to the North Pole for some reason and have taken all of Zero's parts with them. So now we need to go track them down, which leads to the Mega Man standard castle stages. So here we go, Castle Stage 1. And I have a question. Do you like Leap of Faith pits with instant death spikes at the bottom?
Okay.
Do you like instant crushing hazards?
Go on.
Do you like alternative pathways throughout the level that give you a reward for heading down one of them, but also offer a challenge you have to face after getting them?
Oh wait, that's actually kind of cool.
Also, this music goes hard. Anyway, we make it through all that and get to fight the creepy-ass gorilla dude we missed out on the first time. This is Violin, who technically has multiple attacks, but really only has one attack. He'll put blocks all around the arena and then swing around a spiky ball that'll bounce off them. This is a really cool concept that they actually pulled off. Sound the fucking alarms. Unfortunately, his weakness is Bubble, which is really funny, so I literally just stood next to him and he died. Castle Stage 2! Yeah, I just used a fully charged Bubble for the first part of the stage. I didn't mention this because it wasn't relevant, but the fully charged Bubble will let you jump higher underwater, and combine that with the fact it also damages enemies upon contact, yeah, this stage is a much easier time. If not a less annoying one. Also, is it just me, or... Actually, who am I trying to fool? It's just me. Or have we not done any of the boss refights yet? I praise the way X1 handled its refights because in that game, you fought a few bosses per stage instead of just all of them on the final stage, like the classics. I have very little hope for what stage 4 could be. Anyway, we fight Sergei's again, and he has this big old mech with cannons on the front. Now, you could do this in the intended way and use Silk Shot and destroy the front, but if you found the chest piece, you can just destroy the entire thing immediately and get to the second phase. Which is a really cool way to reward players who bought a $30 strategy guide and followed it in order to find the chest piece. Now, I was going to talk about the second phase, but this weird glitch happened where it let me stay on like his cannon machine in this spot, and he literally couldn't hurt me, so I just spammed the charged version of Overdrive Ostrich's attack, and he crumbled. He's pathetic. Stage 3! The stage was so whatever, I forgot it immediately after I played it. Except for this one part, though. So there's this one ladder up here that's just a little too out of reach, but if you use Crystal Snail's weapon on one of these bats, freezing it, then jumping off of it, you get to this little area that gives you an extra life and some health. Alright, that's pretty cool. But if you beat the shield guy, then flame dash through this spiky pit, why does this feel like I'm playing a Kaizo Mario level? You can get to this little platform here, but if you head to this area right here, you can dash combo with a flame dash to the opposite direction, you get this little shaft, and behind a hidden wall, to the left, is an empty fucking room. I even tried using Morph Moth's fully charged up ability, which will drag things from off screen like in other rooms, but no, there's nothing. I swear to God, if me missing one X-Hunter earlier locked away some cool final ability, I'm gonna lose it. Speaking of which, Agile, who's not exactly looking very agile anymore. He used to be a really cool Sephiroth wannabe, but after the Pong surgery, there was no going back. So this guy's weakness is the Magnet Mine, the weapon that goes strictly horizontally. And somehow this is the easiest refight. The fully charged Magnet Mine just f***ing melts him, it's insane. That's all of the X-Hunters taken out, only God knows what level 4 could be. And that's correct, only God knows what level 4 could be, because at this point I decided to turn off my console and go outside. You know, for a little while, just take a little break. But when I came back, I loaded my save, since I'm currently playing this on the X Legacy Collection, and I went back to the stage, and I was on stage 1 for some reason. Okay, I guess I just forgot to save, so I looked up the password for the exact combination of things I had this level, and I came back, and after putting in the password to take me straight to level 4, I was still back at the start. So if you turn off your console or reset at any point during the final stretch, you have to do the whole thing over again. Yeah, fun, cool, that was an awesome hour that I wasted. Okay, so now actually on to stage 4. Oh, fuck off. It's the same build up to the Sigma's fight from the first game, that's adorable. I wonder what's up here though. Oh, fuck off. Was this game made to torture me? Did Capcom want to create one of the best games ever made just to follow up with a room temperature sequel in order to torture me? So this game takes us back to how the classics handled the boss rush. And actually, now that I'm here, I would kind of get it if you like this more than how X1 did it. All of the castle stages were basically just you refighting them with minimal levels in between, but in this game you actually get levels here that feel fulfilling as genuine stages, and not just buffers in between fights. So I could get it if you enjoy the 4th stage being a giant boss rush. I'd not. Honestly, since regular Mega Man games were still coming out at this point, I would have preferred it if X did the boss rushes like the first game and basic Mega Man kept doing it how it always was. Anyway, the boss rush. It's a boss rush, what do you want? Cool thing of note though is that Flame Stag was even more of a joke because they had the arm piece and they could literally just jump into him. And using Overdrive Ostrich's ability on Wire Sponge causes him to split in half. Wow, we're 2 for 2 here. So now that that's over. What? Sigma! Yeah, I'm with you on this one, X. How the f***? And he says he's got some new toys for us to play with.
Same.
And off we go to stage 5. Hey, just quick word of advice. I would recommend going back to wheel gators and grinding it just a bit to fill your sub tanks because you're going to need them. Also, unrelated, but wheel gator's stage, if you stay in this outside area long enough, will actually turn nighttime. Is this like common knowledge or did nobody know this because who the f*** would discover this naturally? Anyway, on to the final stage. Oh hey look, a reused background asset from Magma Centipedes, that's funny. Oh hey look, they reused the hallway asset from Magma Centipedes. Oh hey look, a reused security gimmick from Magma Centipedes. Oh hey look, a reused the entire start of the level up until the first boss of Magma Centipedes, are you f***ing kidding me? They literally just reused the first half of Magma Centipedes stage, those cheap bastards. Also, I think I decided to let the composer back out of the closet again because these final 3 themes you get to hear go so fucking hard. You don't get to hear it very long, but stage 5's theme is great. And fun fact! So, the music for level 1 and 2 of the... I'm just gonna call them the Sigma stages. They're basically the Sigma stages. The music for stage 1 and 2 of those levels were reused. They're the same theme. The stage 3 theme is unique, but the stage 4 theme is also reused. And this theme right here that goes hard... this is also the theme that played in the first level of the game. And combined with this level literally just being a part of Magma Centipedes, I think this game might have been rushed. I don't know. Anyway, since I literally talked about the stage leading up to this point like half an hour ago, let's just skip to the boss. So Sigma shows up rocking some new armor and brings his new dog with him being a freshly rebuilt Zero.
Look who I found wandering around, Mega Man. My friend here has a small problem with you. It seems that you let him die, and he's not too happy about that. Now I think it is time that he repays the favor.
Sigma, I think you're gonna need to get this thing its shots. It's going rabid. God, this fight is cool. God, he kicked my ass. This is hard as hell and I love it. It reminds me a lot of the Vile Fright from X1 actually. He shoots his sword and arm cannon beams. He'll do this sword dash and then break the floor if you're sitting on the walls or above him. He'll even just deadass block your attacks from anything but a charged X-Buster if you're shooting at him while he's not preoccupied doing something else. Maybe they also let the people who made the X1 fights out of the closet as well, because this might be one of my favorite fights in the entire game. Also my favorite piece of music in this game, because holy shit! Anyway, we defeat him and X's Zero walk around like RPG Maker characters trying to get into position for the next scene to start. And he tells us that he's very sorry to go fight Sigma, who, for some reason, is underneath the floor. So we jump down to Sigma's man cave and show him what for.
You are merely a bothersome insect, Mega Man X. It is about time that I crush you beneath my heel!
This theme. Oh my god. Anyway, this Sigma Phase 1 is actually really good. I'll definitely say it's better than the first phase from X1, that's especially because you have to actually dodge his attacks and not just do whatever the hell this is. In the first game, they gave him a lightsaber, so to keep up with the pop culture references, he gets Wolverine claws. He'll jump around the arena, throw you, teleport above you, then dive down onto you. This is an excellent fight. Also, I'm not sure if this is a reference to how Sigma's phase was able to be cheesed in the last game, but he'll throw a fully charged Spark Mandrill wave at you, and if that's what they were going for, that's hilarious. Anywho, we show him the who's who, we hit him right in the woohoo, causing him to turn to Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. Hey guys, look how powerful the Super Nintendo is. It totally looks impressive, right? Dude, I literally don't care. I'll take anything over the X1 final boss. Also, sorry to make this comparison, but he actually reminds me a lot of Pizza Face from Pizza Tower, throwing down enemies and also slamming into you a bunch. I'm sorry, that's just where my mind went to. It's a whatever phase, but make sure you don't die to him here, because if you do, you have to restart the entire level. Game design. Yeah, this is why I recommended bringing sub-tanks, especially for when you get him down into the red, because then he just starts spawning on top of you, to where if you don't have enough health when he starts doing this, too bad I guess, because the only way to get him off is to deal the rest of his health bar, which if you ran out of his weakness was gonna take a few charge shots. Might I reiterate, game design.
MegaMan X, I have lost to you again. Each defeat only makes me stronger and serves to bring you closer to your ultimate doom. But something is not right. I don't quite understand. Why did Zero? He is the last of the Doctor's creations.
And with that, Sigma's been defeated, and Zero and X can go back home. Okay, so there's one question since we just beat the game.
What was that the entire time?
Why the hell is the final boss so goddamn good? Not only from design, but to music, but to everything. I loved it. We get the enemy roll call again, but no taunt from Sigma this time, just to thank you for playing from a weird-looking Zero that is gray this time. Yeah, you know where this one's going. What would have actually happened if instead of accidentally missing that one X Hunter, we fought him and we got all of Zero's parts? Well, only one way to find out. I was going to replay the game for this video anyways, just because I wanted to see if using the Maverick's weaknesses would have changed my thoughts on them at all. The answer was no, but we do get to see different endings now. So we get all of Zero's parts from the 3 X-Hunters, and Dr. Kane says he's going to put Zero back together while X hunts down the X-Hunters. Jesus Christ, you could have named them something different, please. Everything pretty much plays out the same, but this time I have something cool to show off. So remember that one empty room? Yeah, well, if you have every upgrade in the game, plus enter the room at max health, a final light capsule will be there, containing the Shoryuken from Street Fighter. This is so cool that they kept up with that one Easter egg from the first game where in Armored Armadillo's stage you could find the Hadouken. At max health, give your controller a forward, down, shoot button while using the base X Buster will let him perform a Shoryuken, doing exactly 32 damage, which is what every boss's health is at, and especially Agile, who is perfectly above the player for an instant KO. But anyway, back to the things that Zero's parts affect. Now fighting Sigma on stage 5 has him bring down a Gray Zero to fight you instead, but before out of nowhere, regular Zero comes and destroys Gray Zero, letting you move on instantly to Sigma. I like this and I don't. On one hand, I thought the Zero fight was really cool. On the other hand, I really appreciate that I don't have to fight 3 bosses in a row. Anyway, place explodes, X and Zero get out of there, and they kiss on the beach while having a monologue. And credits roll once again. But this time, the thanks for playing screen is regular Zero. And that's literally all of the changes. And that is it for MegaMan X2. Did I think it was a bad game? No. Did I think it was great? Also no. It was honestly just good. What people on Twitter might consider mid, if you will. Is it as good as X1?
That's hilarious.
It felt a lot like Mega Man X, but a way more hit or miss. In X1, the only stage theme I didn't like nor have in my playlist was Sting Chameleons, but in X2, I think I only liked maybe half of them, and that also extends to the Mavericks themselves. Wire Sponges, whatever, Morph Moss was actually kinda good, Flame Stag was a joke, Magma Centipede was okay, Overdrive Ostrich can go to hell, Bubble Crab was annoying, Wheel Gator was repetitive, and Crystal Snail was actually quite good. So out of all of them, 3 I liked, 2 I thought were just whatever, and 3 I didn't like. Yikes. Same with the weapons, but you get the gist. For every good thing this game has, it has an equally bad one. But at the end of the day, it's still Mega Man X. I do like this game, but just not as much as X1. Not by a long shot. And hey, at least it's not as bad as X3. If you liked X1, you're probably gonna like this too. But Jesus Christ, Overdrive Ostrich can go to hell.